Yes, we are on Canyon Hikes Drive. This is a scene of pure chaos. We have at least 5 homes that I can see right now that are entirely engulfed in flames, and firefighters are working as fast as they can. The problem is, as soon as they start working on one house, the next one goes up. There's other houses in here that are entirely on fire, and they don't have any water on them at all because it's happening so fast. The fire is spreading from one house to the next. It's like dominoes practically. You can see, guys, they're spraying water on this house just to protect it. That's just structure protection. Other homes, they're trying to do their best to put the fire out, but the roofs are just too dry, they're too flammable, and the fire just continues to spread. If we turn over this way, right here, you can see inside the house that the entire second story of this house is now on fire. That's a bedroom of some sorts. You can see flames coming out of the windows. We don't see any ambulances around here. We do believe that all of these homes have been evacuated. We don't see anyone moving around here. We just have firefighters dragging hose lines and putting as much water as they can on as many different homes in this line. Now, behind these houses, what we have is the brush, is the land, is the mountainside. The fire came up through the backside. I see that, yeah, there's another house over there that's completely engulfed in flames as well. Again, at this time I'm counting at least 5, maybe 6 homes that are on fire. Make that 6 houses that are on fire right now. Hey, Chris, come over this way. You can see into the house where they've opened up the doors. The entire roof of that house is now collapsed down. That house is going to be a complete loss. That's so sad for the people who lived in this home. But the good thing is we are not getting any reports of people in these houses right now. We're being told everyone has been evacuated out of these houses. But it's just an incredible sight to see. We have an entire neighborhood street, houses going up in flames, one after another, and firefighters doing everything they possibly can to save these houses. They just don't have enough water, enough manpower to fight all these fires at the same time. I mean, we can count them off for you right now. I'll show you. That's 1 house that's on fire. Let's pan over here. That's 2 houses. The next door neighbor's house, that's on fire. That's 3. And then down a little bit further over here, you can easily see a 4th house on fire just from our point of view. Other houses are still at risk of catching fire from what we could see. Again, just a scene of a chaos out here. They have as many water lines as they can get right now, trying to extinguish the flames that are on each house. But the conditions are such that the wind keeps blowing and fueling the fire, and then as soon as these embers touch a roof, it just goes up like that. The firefighters have been here for probably about a good 10-15 minutes already trying to protect these houses, but there's only so much they can do. Any minute now we'll probably be getting some helicopters coming into this area, maybe to do a huge water drop on all of us. If you've ever been in a rainstorm, been outside, that's what it feels like where we are right now. There is so much water being shot out of these firefighters' hoses. It's all coming back and raining down on us because of the wind speeds that are blowing it all back towards us. Again, if we look at it right here, we have about, I'd say, a couple dozen firefighters, a couple dozen fire trucks. They're bringing in more every time. All these water tankers trying to get as much water as they can on these houses themselves. We haven't seen any neighbors in this area, just firefighters and then a few cameras trying to report what's happening out here. This is why officials wanted to keep everybody out of this neighborhood, because they can't get enough resources in here fast enough, and if they have to drive around parked cars of other neighbors who are, trying to get to their houses, it's just going to mean one more house that they lose to the fire because of the rapid rate of spread of the current fire. The Canyon Fire too, it blew into this area where we are right now, this neighborhood, I would say about half an hour ago, and the main fire itself has already left this area. The actual wildfire has blown up probably about a mile away from where we are right now in this neighborhood. The problem is these houses caught fire and were left behind after the fire burned on out of here. And now firefighters are having to use basically all of their immediate resources to put these flames out. The really difficult thing is you see what they're doing here. They're trying to contain this house that's burning while simultaneously protecting the two houses on both sides of this home. These are beautiful houses. They look brand new practically, probably only built a few years ago, and many of them today are going to be entire losses. I'd estimate the price of these homes anywhere from the $750,000 to $1 million range. You can see the side of the heat, the intense heat actually is now shattering the windows on these houses. You can hear them breaking. I don't know if you guys can hear the shattering of the glass happening.
Steve, it's so loud. I don't know if you can hear us from the studio, but it is really, really loud. And yes, we did just hear the glass shattering, which fascinates me that the firefighters are that up close to that glass shattering there. It must feel so much, I mean, it's cliche to say a war zone, but it is fascinating to see the chaos, but we know it's organized chaos for these firefighters because obviously they train for stuff, but we don't see it usually this close up. It's usually from the air.
Intense.
And it's fascinating.
The intensity is unbelievable.
It really is. And the heat, you must feel a lot of the heat from the wind, Steve.
It's, I've never experienced or seen anything like this. Oh, ow, ow, ow. Yeah, we do have and the wind, as the roofs of these homes are coming apart, it's blowing hot ash on top of us. And when you get hit with that, if you weren't wearing these fire-resistant clothes, it'd start your own clothes on fire. Another reason why officials don't want any civilians in this area who aren't properly equipped, who aren't firefighters or trained to deal with this kinds of situation. Because as one home goes up, you have flaming debris being blown off the roofs, being blown out of the homes, simply by the intense wind speeds that we're experiencing out here. When that flaming debris comes our way, it's hitting other homes, which then are having a better chance of igniting themselves and losing them. Again, we have apparently 5 to 6 homes that are currently burning on this one street in the Anaheim Hills area. This neighborhood was positioned high above the 91 freeway and Gypsum Canyon Road, where the fire itself is believed to have begun. And the fire burned about a good mile until it reached this neighborhood. And now that it's here, it's just wreaking absolute havoc. We don't see any firefighters going into these buildings. Many of the men we see out here, they're with the U.S. Forest Service. They don't have the proper equipment on to be able to make entry into these houses. Other firefighters are still being moved into this area to go into any houses and to tell people to get out of here. And look right here, they have to be very, very careful because people have things like this. Propane tanks, extremely flammable, very explosive. If one of these is in a house, it's gonna blow up. So they gotta get all that kind of stuff out of here as well. Aside from just doing what they're currently doing, which is trying to put these fires out before they catch the neighbor's house on fire. And it's really, it's heartbreaking to see. The homeowners probably at this point have no idea that everything that they worked for, everything they had in their house is gone.
Steve,
no saving many of these houses, unfortunately.
Steve, I heard you say, ouch. Did an ember literally land on you guys?
Can you repeat that one more time?
I was just saying that you said ouch as if like the embers landed on you. Did some of those embers like fall on you and Chris?
Yeah, one of them hit my hand, and that's obviously extremely hot. So you're kind of watching out for whichever way the fire is being blown by the winds, where the debris is being blown. From up above, you wouldn't think it would be that hot. From down here on the ground, we're standing back, we're across the street from where these houses are on fire, but when a piece of that debris hits you, it hurts. It does hurt. Again, we're wearing all the proper firefighting equipment, so there's no risk of us catching fire where we are right now. Plus, we're surrounded by all these different firefighters who are doing their very best to get these fires out, to make this a safe area and to save the property. So we're not at risk, thankfully. But I do feel for some of these guys who, you look at these Forest Service members, and they're not even wearing as much gear and safety equipment as we are. They just rushed over here and are trying to protect these houses and extinguish the blazes as quick as they can. Most of these guys, These are the types of people who you will see on ground crews, going into the hills, working in more desolate, isolated vegetation areas, digging lines around fires to contain them. You don't usually see these guys going into neighborhoods to put out active fires. Yes. That's one of the, just goes to show you the urgency of the situation. They just need as many people as they possibly can get into the street to work on putting these active fires out before they spread. Again, as I counted out for you, we've got at least, appears to be 5 homes, at least 5 burning right now that we have fire crews trying to extinguish. And just think about this, Glenn and Lou. When we go to fires and we see fires, usually we have several dozen firefighters working to put out one home or one building that's on fire. Here we have 5 different fires burning on 5 different homes, with about a dozen other homes in the immediate area that are at extreme risk of catching fire if these firefighters can't quickly extinguish the flames that are currently consuming these houses.
Yeah, Steve, we know that more than 1,000 homes have been evacuated, but I noticed behind you there's 2 homes, especially the one directly behind you. There's a red SUV in the driveway. It looks like they had it parked for a fast getaway, but they obviously left somewhere else. But I would think that SUV has got to be a problem because obviously it has a gas tank. They got to keep the fire away from that vehicle.
Oh yeah, yes. We've been seeing them spray water all over this SUV for most of the time, and the front of the home, for this time being, the flames are not immediately hitting the SUV. We could start to hear the tires on this SUV pop if it gets hot enough, and at that point, everyone here would have to start moving back because you'd have to have issues, as you mentioned, being a big concern. The gas tank exploding, the oil, everything else igniting. Cars inherently are very flammable once fire actually gets to them. We don't know if this was a homeowner or a family member who rushed back here to load some things up into his house and just got stuck, who couldn't leave, or if we have a garage door opening right now. You see that? You see the garage door opening? Yeah. I can't believe anyone would actually be in this house. I wonder if that's just a malfunction of the system. Maybe we can get a better view.
Steve, stay put there. And just be safe. We're going to do a station identification and start the 1 o'clock newscast. We'll come right back to you in a few minutes. If you're just joining us as viewers, Lou Parker along with Glenn Walker, Steve Cooge out in Anaheim Hills, where 5 homes at least are currently burning. You're watching the KTLA 5 News at 1 o'clock. Steve Cooge has done a great job. He's gotten into the neighborhood there to be able to give us an up-close look at what these amazing firefighters and California forest firefighters are doing here. You are on exactly where the fire is burning at Canyon Heights Drive. That's just south of the Fox Hollow Drive.
Yeah, that's right. And the situation out here is getting more dire. I mean, you'll see that they're trying to get fresh hoses out here. One of the problems they're running into is they're losing water. The fire trucks are running out of water right now because they've been sitting here throwing their water from their trucks and their tanker trucks on top of these houses for so long right now. They're running on empty. Like you can see, this firefighter's hose right here, he just doesn't have much left in there. They're trying to repressurize and to fill these trucks up, but we have so many of the extinguishers, the fire hydrants in this neighborhood being used, it's really taxing the water pressure system in this community. We have 5 homes that are currently engulfed in flames, and I would say all 5 of those homes right now are complete losses. The main goal of firefighters at this time is to protect the other homes in this community that are at extreme risk right now of catching fire. I went through here and we counted exactly 5 fires. These homes are up on a ridge line overlooking the 91 freeway here in Anaheim Hills. And when the wildfire, the Canyon Fire 2, blew through here, fire does one thing really well. It climbs hills. You can hear the firefighters yelling, "We need water, we need more water." But again, they just don't have enough right now. Everything's being taxed. This truck right now, the hoses aren't pressurized because they're trying to figure out a way to get water, but they're running out of water at this time. You can just see the urgency. They're working as fast as they can. These guys to save the homes.
Water tender! I know, he's getting slapped!
Just hear them yelling out commands to each other. So we have two houses right here. They look like about 2.5 to 3,000 square foot homes that are complete losses. The roofs have collapsed in. The second floor has completely been burned away. Now all of the attention is going to be focused on the houses we see to the adjacent sides of these homes. You see this this fence line over here. The fire came up just right up here, and then as soon as it reached these homes, that was it. There was nothing that could be done. You can hear it sounds like just the wind swirling around inside this house. It's a very big whooshing effect. I'll push the microphone over there so you guys can just hear the intensity of this fire. Oh, geez. Hey, Chris. See, one other issue they're running into, I mean, some of the hoses, just from this constant use and the extreme pressure they're going through, you can see they're getting puncture wounds, holes popping into them. And you can only take so many of those holes before you lose too much pressure in your actual hose itself, and it's no good anymore. Okay, as we walk further back this way, these are the other three houses that are burning currently. Again, the total of houses burning on this one street is 6. 6 homes that we know are engulfed in flames. Oh, and Glenn, as you said, you were asking about that SUV that was parked in the driveway in front of the homes. Well, that's now caught on fire. Here, Chris, stand back. Come on, over here. You can see the back of the car. The SUV is now on fire.
Right. And then that could explode.
The garage is gone. Yeah, we're gonna
be careful, guys. Don't get too
further
close.
Back here. But as far back as we're standing, you can see these firefighters still marching in, going straight forward, trying to put water on this house, really risking their own lives so they can protect someone else's house. Let me see. 1, 2, 3. So it actually looks like we might have 7 houses now on this street that are on fire and have been severely damaged. They're working on. Oh, did you guys hear that?
What was it?
I think we just had another roof of one of these houses. The house that we're filming right now, it's tough to see because there's so much black smoke coming down, but a part of the roof just collapsed down onto the inside of the house.
And so are they attempting to put the fire out on that truck or on the house, or both there?
They're trying to get the fire out away from the truck because they can put the truck out, but the fire keeps coming from the inside of the house and splashing over the truck itself. And again, the gas tank is back there, and we don't want that truck going up, because if that truck catches fire, they're going to have to move back a lot of these firefighters and their hoses. And if the truck is at risk of exploding, we could lose a couple more houses simply because firefighters will have to retreat to a much safer area. All right. There's so much water coming out of this house. You can see it's turning in some of the streets and the gutters here to rivers. There's so much water just flowing through.
Steve,
attempting to save the house as they can.
Okay, so just be careful, and great job out there. We're gonna check in with Elizabeth Espinoza for a second. We'll come back to you in a few minutes, but just again, you guys be careful.